Hey, this is Craig. We're at Goodson Guitars here in Odessa, Texas. Got Jose Samaniego with me. He's running the camera, and we got us a 1964 bass. Fender, I believe, what is this, a jazz or a P bass? I don't know much about it. It's a P bass, okay. But it is 64, June of 64. The first number is neck width. And then obviously the month, the year, and I can't remember what that last one is. But this one has been some modifications made to it. The tuners were changed out according to the owner way back in the day. And then they put a badass bass bridge on there, which it's a little high. So that's causing two problems. The action is horrid. And so we adjusted the neck, but the truss rod was really tight. So I'll tell you how we did that. And then we're going to make a shim for the neck. So in order to get the truss rod to adjust, what I did, and I did this prior to starting the video because we really weren't going to do a video until second thought. So here we go. So I clamped it in between these two blocks like so because we needed to put a little back bow in the neck. And then I put a clamp in the middle and just put some light pressure and got the neck kind of to where I could adjust the rod and take the tension off of it. And then we got a screwdriver in there and it was much easier to turn. And so now we got some relief in the neck, and that's how we got that part done. So now what we're in the process of doing is we're going to make a shim for the neck, because I know I could tell when he brought it in, looking at it, the action's still going to be bad. They told me that there was a shim in here and it was a guitar pick, which is, you know, a lot of people have done that in the past, but if you can see, there's an indentation right there. And so there was a shim in here, and this is a common way of doing it, is they'll take a piece of wood or a card or whatever, and they'll put it just back here in the back to kick that neck forward. But then over time, it creates an indentation right there, and so now we've got a low spot in the pocket. And then also when they tighten it down, you end up with an air pocket between the body and the neck, which will affect the tone, not the tone, but it'll affect sustain because you've got an air pocket. You want good wood to wood contact. So we're going to take this scrap piece of spruce from one of the tops I'm working on, and we used a template for the bass neck pocket to get a rough shape. And then once we get it cut in here and get it fitting good, then we're gonna put the angle on it and make a shim that fills this entire pocket up. That way we get good wood to wood contact, and it should help with playability quite a bit. So we're gonna move over to the sander, and we'll cut the rest of this out on the bandsaw first, and then we'll move over to the sander and clean it up. All right, so now we got the shim cut the shape, and so what we need to do now is get it cut that excess off right there. So back to the bandsaw. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put the angle on the shim. I'm going to start at 1 degree. I think that's going to look good. So I've got my little degree finder set to 1 degree, and then we're going to grind this down and get it close, and then hopefully my calculations are going to be correct. Take this and get it over the top. And push it out to 1 degree. And I think that's going to be the same angle. And I did it on both sides so I could tell if I'm flat this way. we're going to do a little trick. I'm going to take a block of wood. We're going to use this piece of scrap right here. And then I'm going to use some super glue. And I'm going to run a line of super glue down the middle of the shim like so. And spray some activator on it. And then we're going to put this block on there. And let that sit for a second. That way I don't lose my fingers when I go to the bench sander with this. And I can watch what I'm doing. Alright, so back to the sander. All right, so we got it ground down. Now we're gonna pop this back off of here, and it may be easier said than done, but I still have my fingers, or at least my fingerprint. All right, so now we got that. All right, so we got the little handle popped off, and I'm gonna have to do some hand work on the sides to get it perfectly, you know, parallel. But at this point, we're doing well. I mean, it's gonna work out. Like I said, we just got to do a little bit of more sanding on this side. But right now, what I want to check is the angle and see where we're at, because we may have to make the shim a little thinner. So we're gonna take the neck and go ahead and set it down in there. Hang on, we're gonna put this. All right, so we've got the shim just set in there. I've got clamped in the vise, and I want to check the angle real quick. So I got to grab my straight edge so I can see where we're at, because we may have to thin this shim down a little bit, because it could be the right angle, just too much, too thick on this side. So we're gonna run this down, and it seems like, man, that's close. That is like very, very close. So what I want to go ahead and do is drill the holes in it, and go ahead and put the strings on it, get some tension on the neck, and see where we're at. And if we got to take it back off, then that's what we'll do. But we're just probably a 1/16 of an inch or less, maybe even a 32nd on top of those with the straight edge. So I think we're going to be at a good angle. All right, so what we're going to do now, I've got a brad point drill bit, and it just fits into the hole for the bolt, and I'm just going to turn it and put a mark where I need the holes, and then I'll over drill the holes a little bit, and that way I know where they are. And then another thing I'm going to do, now that we got that, is I'll go ahead and take a pencil and put my mark right there. That way I can, when I drill my holes, I know I'm in the right spot. And then I want to over drill, that way I got a little room of play. So we're going to go to one just a little bit bigger, and we'll go ahead and all right, so we got the shim in, we got the neck plate back on. I'm just snugging everything up, and then we'll get the strings back on and see where our action's at, and see what other adjustments we need to make. All right, so we put the neck on a while ago, and now we're putting it back on because we had to go down to half a degree because I've never been that great at trigonometry, and 1 degree was too much. So we took it down to half, and now we're fixing to see how that works. I'm going to check it with the straight edge, and then we will see where we're at. If we have to go down much further, then it's all going to be by hand to get it where we want it. So we're gonna now we're sitting right on top. So we'll go ahead and put the strings back on, and we'll see where we're at. So y'all sit tight. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. We got it strung up, and everything's good to go. There are some issues with the pickups, but they really don't want me worrying about that, so we're not going to do that. But I think the rubber or the springs is shot because they're not adjustable, and if they don't want me to mess with it, I'm not going to take a chance on taking this old pick guard off because they're you know, the celluloid's real flimsy, and I don't want to break it. So if I don't have to go into it, I'm not going to. But if you want to come in close, Jose, you know, we got good action at the 12th fret. It plays well. We've been messing around with it a little bit. This is a cool old bass. It's got a lot of old battle scars on it. It's been modified quite a bit over the years, so, you know, it's not the holy grail, but it's still pretty cool. So I appreciate y'all watching. If you like the content, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and smash the bell if you want to see more. I appreciate it. Y'all take care.